Okay, so I am going to do, this is chapter 2. This is the flat hook. It's important that when I look at this before I even begin, that I see that it's in millimeters, thickness, 25 millimeters. I'm assuming that's the thickness of the actual part here, but we're just going to replicate the drawing here. So nowhere here does it, normally you would have a side view or a top view. So we're just doing let's just call this the side view, I guess. And normally you'd have a front view or a top view, but this is all we're going to be worrying about. So I do know it's in metric because it told me. I can also tell because there's no 25.5 or something like that. So that's a pretty straightforward. We are going to assume that these lines are parallel. So when I look at this, I have to figure out where's my 0, 0 going to be. I could either do it here or I could do it up here. I'll probably just do it. I'll start up here. I'll make 2 concentric circles. And then I'll come down here and I'll make another 2 concentric circles. And then I'll start trimming, and that's probably the fastest way to do this. So I'm going to start my 0, 0 here, make 2 circles, come down 180 millimeters, and I'll make this 2 circles. And so let's go ahead and do that then. So I'll minimize this. I'll kind of have both screens open here. All right, so looking at this, I'm in millimeters. I know I'm in millimeters because I typed in startup, and I made sure that it was 1. So when it opened up and I closed it, opened it back up, and then I was in millimeters. So startup 1, push enter, right? If it's not, so it's 3 or something, close it. All right, no, and then let's go ahead and open up another one. And then this time it should say it's give me the option metric, so that's good. So I'm good to go here. So it's going to open up. All right, so you want to make sure you have this bar up here, and this bar is very helpful because if I'm looking at the object here, there's a lot of parallel lines and such. So the way you get this line open, this bar here, is you make sure that you're obviously if it's hide menu bar, you hit show menu bar, and then we're going to go up here and we're going to go to tools, toolbar, AutoCAD, and then we want to hit the object snap. And so that's how you get that open. So that's open. So again, I'm going to go ahead and make my 2 circles. So we decided that the top one is going to be where I start. That's going to be my 0, 0. It's telling me that's in diameters and radius. So if it's a full circle, it's always going to be a diameter. So I'll type in 0, 0. I'm going to do the inside first, enter, and then I'm going to go ahead and scroll out here. I'm going to type in, we said 45, all right, 45 millimeters, enter. And so it's not a bad idea, before I get too carried away, just kind of check, like, ruh-roh, is this actually working before I get too involved here? Make sure everything looks good. All right, so I want to change this tail, but that's good for now. So let's go ahead and keep working through this. So now let's make our second circle. I can, obviously I get diameter of 100 or radius. Let's just make it easy on ourselves. I'll go radius. I'm just going to go ahead and type in 0, 0 because I know that's where it was before. And then I'll go ahead and type in radius 50, and I'll push enter. All right, that's good. So again, I can check it. So I go here. I'm going to need to change this just so it matches. But for now, let's just go ahead and change this. So I'll go radius. Let's just click it. All right, so that's 50. So that's good. I'm going to undo that. All right, so we're good. Now what I want to do is let's make this bottom circle. So probably the easiest way is just take a line, start at 0, 0, enter, and then I'm going to go straight down, and I've got my polar snap on. And so it says it's 180 to 180 millimeters. Push 180, and then push enter again. And so I could double check that measurement. I could go to my dimension line here. I could also just look up here and say, what did I just do here? And we'll go from our 0, 0. We'll come down to the end of here and 180. Okay, I'm going to need to change all that, but we'll just leave that there for now. Actually, I might move this out of the way because it's a little distracting for me. Okay, so now I'm going to make 2 circles. Now I could just go like this. So there's a couple different ways when you do something like this. I could just go here and circle if I'm doing the radius, and I could actually type in for the X 0. So I could type in, it's never successful, 0. comma, and then y is minus 80. Let's see what happens here. Let's see if it's at the same spot. Enter. Yeah, there it is. Or I just snap on there. And then this one, I'll start with the inside. That radius is 62.5. All right. Enter. All right. And then let's do the outer one again. So I'll go circle radius. I'm feeling really lazy, so I'm just going to snap here. And then this one has a radius of 130. So I'll type in 130, enter. I don't know if that's supposed to be like that, but it sure looks good. All right, so now what I want to do is I'm going to do a tangent line, and there's a couple different ways to do that. So one way is I go to line, and once you get really proficient, you might just go ahead and hit the line tool, type in TAN, enter, and then select this line right here, and then type in TAN. The other way to do it is to come up here, and there's a tangent icon, but let's just finish at this. And then I go to this circle, and there's that line. And so, so what I made is this line right there. And then, all right, that looks good. And then what's going on here? This looks a little off. All right, so then what I would do is let's just go, and there's 125. So let's do a line here. Let's go to our snap to perpendicular. Let's snap it right there, and let's come this way. I'm going to type in 125. All right, and I'll push enter. So one thing I could do is, let's see, do I know that distance? I could just go, best way to do this, let's go line, let's go TAN for tangent, enter, and then I could just snap that to there. Is that right? That doesn't look right though. Is that right or not? I can't really tell. So that looks a little off, but let's just double check here.
Yeah, it is off.
That doesn't look right.
Yeah, it is off.
So let's just double check that measurement. See what's up here. Yeah, so somehow that's wrong. So
It'd be 125.
yeah, so let's make sure I have the right distance here. That should be 125. I'll have to go back and see what I did wrong there. And then enter. All right, so that looks good. I kind of cheated there, as you saw, but that's okay. But that's why you always want to verify what you're doing here. Let's go snap here to the end here. All right, there we go. That's 125, so I'm good. So let's try that again. So I'll go, let's see, there's probably more information here. Okay, so we've got another radius here. So bear with me, everybody. Let's look at this one. So let's do that tangent line again. So I'll come in here, line, type in TAN for tangent, come to here, then we'll go, let's go to this point. I'll just leave it there for now. All right, let's just, I'm going to get rid of this dimension. I don't really need it. There's a radius here. So what I could do is, let's just extend this out because I have my settings here, my snap settings. Let's just double check here. I said snap settings. I have the object snap. I have the extension done, right? And I've got my polar tracking done is on. So what I can do is I can just take this line, and I should be able to just, if you notice, there's a green line here. Once I'm on here, and I can extend it out on that green line, if you notice. So I could just do that, because what I want to do is I'm going to go here, and I want to get a radius, right? So if you look at this drawing here, we've got a radius of 25. So what you do is a tangent radius. So what you can do is I could do a circle, and I'll go tangent radius. Let's try that. Tangent, and then the radius is 25. Okay, so now what I would do, because there's all these crazy lines and I'm feeling a little blue, I'll just type trim. It's just, and this is a new feature. Usually you have to snap, but I think I could just go like, see if it's going to let me do this. Ah, it's not doing it. Let's try that again. Center mark, I don't know why it's doing that. Oh. All right. Not what I'm looking for here. Help me out here. Why are we seeing all these? Sorry. Okay, so let's go do that again. Trim, enter. And there we go. And there we go. And there we go. Okay, so that's, and now I can verify that. So we'll go in here and we'll go radius. That's 25. All right, I'm gonna at some point need to change this. So I'm just verifying everything here. Let's just verify. I'll push enter because that's the key that's already there. And that says it's 130. So I'm looking pretty good here. Okay, so undo, undo, undo. All right. So now let's work on this back side. So we're going to do the same thing. This is a radius of 50. I'm going to go ahead and say tangent, 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 and then I'm going to go ahead and type in 50. All right. And now I'll type in trim. Enter. Let's get rid of what we don't want. We don't want. And we don't want these. We don't want these. Okay, believe it or not, I think the part is pretty much drawn here. So a couple things here. I'm gonna probably keep this line because if you've got all these center marks. So let's just pull this up. I can use that later. Let's pull this one down. I'm not sure the center mark is there. So if it's not there, if you go, you can type it in, but you should be able to go dimensions, center mark, and just select it. All right, and let's do another one. Enter, select it. You can see that center mark. So I got that center mark. You could probably change that, but then what I could do is, you want to make sure you've got these gaps here, these lines. So now it's just a matter of changing all the dimension settings. Let's trim this. Trim. All right, I think it looks good. I'm going to pause. See here for a second. So what I want to do then, I'm looking here and I notice that my font is all off. It should be horizontal and it just doesn't look the same. So the way that I fix that is I'll go ahead into my dimension style, modify. And then what I want to do here is in the text, we're going to go to horizontal. And then one of the things I was noticing was the tails off. So how did I do that? ISO standard, horizontal. Then I would go, come on, Smith. It's one of these. I just had it. My apologies. Bear with me here.
Vertical.
Centered.
Go to vertical.
Sorry. So it's the vertical centered and okay. Let's just see if that worked. There's probably other things I want to change in there. Okay, but that seems to have done it. All right. Now, why is that dimension? Okay, so let's check these dimensions. What happened there?
Top
That should be
one,
180, and it's not 180. What happened there,
the top
Smith?
one. It's not on the center.
Okay. Oh, that's okay. Phew. All right, so this is to the center. It scared me there for a minute. Okay, so that's 180. All right, so everything looks good. Honestly, I probably want to increase the font size. So this is things that, that I don't necessarily need to make recordings of, but let's just go ahead. So maybe what I want to do is, in this scenario, what I find the best thing to do is go to the fit and just try it, scale it. Let's just try twice as big. This does arrows and everything. Those arrows look really small. It might be even 3 times. Let's try, let's see. Let's just try 3. Maybe we'll go a little big. I can always come back here. So I'm just doing everything at once. All right, and you can see it. So that looks, it's a little big, but that looks good. So the nice thing is when you do it that way, the arrows, everything's already done. You don't have to go back and forth and change the leader. It does it for you. So there are probably better ways to do this, but what I could do then is let's just start finishing the dimensions here. So I'm gonna go to aligned. Let's select here. Let's select the endpoint here. And then sometimes you have to drag it up and out. Let's try that again. So Control Z. I already constructed it this way, so maybe I'll just do it from here because I already know that's the point. Come up here, delete this line. Let's take this, and it actually comes to the point anyway. So let's try that again. Does not like that. All right, let's just leave that for now. Let's get all as much as we can in here. I apologize if I'm going really fast, but I'm just trying to maximize your time here. Okay, I can deal with that arrow in a second. Let's just. So these are all features that you can fix. Hang on here. I'm recording. Okay, so kind of a weird thing here that's going on. I noticed is I'm able to get the dimensions the way that I want. And the way that we do that with some help from some students here is I went to dimension lines. We want to make sure in ISO 25, go to modify, and then make sure that the draw dimension line between extension line is off. So we do that and everything's good. And I say close. The problem is what we noticed was it wasn't going back, doing it retroactively. So if you see this, what you need to do is do that step, and then you should be able to go in and do your dimensions properly like this. All right. So yeah, so that's the way you want to do it. So now I'll go ahead and I'll finish this. So a couple things here, right? I want to get that gap, and I'm just manually doing it. You can set it up so you have that, but at this point, I'm just trying to blow through this thing. So make sure though that it's snapping. You can either snap it at the end of the center mark or just back it off a little bit. And then I'm going to draw some additional lines here. So that actually what you're seeing there is not really there. That's just the X and so let's go come up here. And I'll back this off a little bit. I'll probably have to preview it. And so I just try to match this the best that I can. So let's take a line here, come to the end. You always want to extend out beyond the circle. I'll have to see what that preview is. All right, and then we've got some lines here. So I'll do the same exact thing here. I'll extend this out. So again, I'm just matching the drawing. That's really the only thing we're trying to do on these exercises. And then where did that line come from? Okay, so I thought we fixed that. All right, so a couple more lines here. I don't want this one needs to be fixed again, so I'll go to my all right, so the only thing is, I guess if I wanted to match this identically, you could, let's see, you can play around with it. You can turn that setting off for that one. So, so if I was going to do that, I guess I would go back into format, dimension style, modify, and I would actually turn this back on, close, okay. All right, so let's go here. So that's how I would get something like this back on there if you wanted to. You can play with these arrows a little bit. So I think that's pretty much all we need to do. This line here, we had a line, so let's just take this line here. I could extend this out just a hair. So on this green line, I should be able to extend it out. And then I think what I'll do is I'll back this line into it. Let's see. Because I already did that. I must have deleted that line. So I should just be able to go back in here. Let's maybe delete that dimension, do it again. There we go. All right, get rid of that. Okay, so that looks good. I'm pretty much done here. I'm not going to worry about these T intersections. Let's just get the rest of the radiuses in there that I need. And so I've got this radius, R50. All right, that looks good. Got the 25. I think I'm pretty much there. Just make sure I have all my dimensions. I'm not going to worry about these T's, which is basically the intersection. For now, I'm okay with this. So then I would just, it's always best before you do anything to just do a print preview. So I'm going to go here to my PDF. I'm going to do my window, just select the object here, preview. That looks pretty good. Now I can already tell there's some spacing issues. So before I print this, I'm gonna clean this up here and clean this one up down here too. I need to add this line below. So let's just do that. All right, so let's go like that. Let's just add these spaces. Do the same to this one up here. All right, I'm basically done with this. So let's add another line here. Okay, so I'm gonna just, out of sake of time, I'm gonna call this a day here. Let's just preview the last one. Okay, so basically I think I'm pretty good here, and I'll print it and I'll save it as a PDF file. Okay, so that is the lesson. I'll stop the recording.